Greetings from Revealing the Hidden. We have come to the third session of marriage, and today we are going to discuss about marital conflicts. In marriage, conflicts are very normal, but how to come out from the conflicts to have a compromised life is the question. So today we are going to discuss on the same, and we have both of our integrity to partner with me for the discussion. Welcome, Bonnie, to another interesting session where we can speak a lot. Marriage conflicts.
Yes.
So, Bonnie, what do you think? What are the reasons for conflicts in marriage?
I think first of all, we are having this session. It's a session where I think we are exploring not just marriage but also everyday living rather. So I think for me, marriage is where two people come together. But before they come together, how they are, that influences a lot when they come together. It's like two individual people on the table. The moment you put them into the one container called marriage, they start to, and obviously the container gets shaken, stirred, and fried, and all that stuff. And it depends upon what those two people are made up of. So I think conflict actually shows what's on the inside. Conflict also starts to rub and create a lot of friction. But I would say conflict is good. And I have a reason for that. But yeah, conflict is good because conflict shapes us up. And conflict is necessary so that two people who are put in that container, when the container is shaken, they start, dancing around in that container. But in that entire journey, they start smoothing each other out. And they don't just smoothen. The important factors that they're able to not crush each other, but they're able to shape up each other. And that is very important in marriage because conflict has a role to play. I mean, you can't just always have a compromise, but conflict needs to have a conclusion. So I know conflict has a lot of reasons to come into marriage, but how it can stay and help the marriage to grow is very important, because if at all one of the spouse will start running away from every kind of conflict or every kind of decision making, then the entire burden of decision making or taking tough calls will just become the other person's responsibility, which is also not good. At the same time, if both of them are having continuous conflicts, then it will wear each other out, and rather than being a team together, they'll end up becoming apart. So I think conflict has a place, and I think I would want to give conflict the tag of cement, because cement, when it is poured out, okay, it is watery, slimy, but give it some air, give it some sunlight, and give it a little bit more water to dry, and it holds you. It not just holds you, it strengthens you. It becomes a very foundation on which you stand. I wouldn't say conflict is the foundation, but I'm saying that if you make conflict as something that you can stand upon, which is conflict cannot shake you, your marriage will not be shaken.
Wow. When you were talking, again, I was thinking about what all conflicts I had in my life. So conflicts are necessary, and if you see what was our first conflict is, I'm actually a prayerful person, where my husband was not. The first conflict we had is when we visited one of his cousin's house. I told, let's pray before getting out. I got in and out when I reached home, because never ever tell me to pray in front of others. And today he's a pastor.
See, conflict changes things.
So conflict really moves.
Yes.
Second conflict we had on cleanliness. My Jones is obsessed with cleaning, and as you know that our house is like a museum, and I couldn't take it, and this is the second reason of conflict. So we can't say that conflict will never happen. If you sneeze, conflict can happen. This is marriage. So I just started with the joking way. Conflict can happen at any way. It is not needed for dowry or any other big issues. small issues, because I always think that if Jones keep a pen here, that should be his position. So I say I want the pen to be in the other position, another conflict. So someone need to compromise in the thing, because we cannot go with the way. Once I understood why Jones says that this is the position of that pen, the conflict got it. But it took
True.
time.
It takes time.
It took time because I was not molded in the same furnace where Jones was born and brought up. So this is one of the reasons for conflicts. Another thing is lack of communication,
Yeah.
and really took a lot of time for me to come into the bracket box of communication,
True.
because Jones used to communicate, and there are times Jones never communicated as well. But now, looking at the face of Jones, I can understand what all things we want to say. So there is no need of communication, because marriage,
yeah.
yes, the non-verbal things
Non-verbal
really
communication.
make me understand now what he want to say. So now words play less roles than the gestures what we make, where we able to understand. Now the reason of conflicts what media always come up with is dowry thing. Actually, dowry there is no need. The dowry is you are supposed to give to a woman, actually, to get the woman from the house, I would say. So actually, dowry I never support, and understand both parents, both side parents equally put effort to bring to
Bring
that
the child,
particular
yeah.
level. A doctor will always get married to a doctor or similar degrees. Understand, to get that degree, both parents really worked hard
True.
to bring you to the size and shape you want, fed well. So this also need to be done in that way. The way you want the open heart or a culture where all the values are accepted, the other parents also put in, so
True.
that they
Very
can
true.
come up in that particular way, so that at least, see, we may look the compatibility, but parents took all the
Other aspects. Yeah.
other aspects like assets, education, the quality of the parents. Is there any mentally defect in the family, or is there any divorce? So it can affect my child in another
True.
way. So everywhere compatibility is checked. So understand both families equally work hard to bring you in this platform.
True.
Talking about love marriage, I thought, see, I'm from an arranged marriage background. I thought love marriage stays better. Seeing the other marriages in front of me, I understood my marriage is much better, because love marriage will not see the other side of good qualities. It always see the icing of the cake. It never know what is the material of the cake.
True.
This is love marriage.
True.
So I don't have anything to comment on that particular thing. Yes, these are some of the reasons for conflicts. Now we'll discuss how we can manage conflicts in marriage.
I think, as I said, conflict is not just necessary; it will always be bound to happen, and a marriage will only be healthy, a marriage will only be strong, a marriage will only survive if it is able to prepare for conflicts, if it has a strategy plan for conflicts. As I said, conflicts need to have a conclusion, in the sense, like as you said, if you want the pen here and Jones doesn't want the pen there, it's like every instance or situation will need to have a conclusion, but that conclusion will need to celebrate the marriage.
Right.
Anytime the conflict happens, and the conflict can take away marriage apart, or can take away both the people apart, that is not conflict. That is not dealing with conflict the correct way. The correct way to deal with conflict, I would say, is, as I said, conflict is like a cement, but cement in the wrong shape is going to be scratchy, it's going to be bad. So, one of the things when you lay down the road for cementing, they tend to also use a blower which removes all the air particles out, because cement in its own self is strong, but if you let the air particles inside, that very beam or the pillar will have air holes, and that will weaken the entire structure. Same way, I think conflicts will need to be steady to help both the husband and the wife to come closer. It's like cementing. So the conflict will help both of them to iron out their differences and come closer and closer and closer. So I would say conflict is a time where, like how we say persecution is a time, or trials is a time, or difficulty is a time where we strengthen our perseverance, our character, and those innate things get polished. Same way, conflict is where two people tend to be able to look at it in a way that this is going to strengthen our marriage.
Right.
So the way to deal with conflicts is to look at it from the perspective of this situation is going to get us closer. This situation is going to celebrate our marriage. This situation is going to cement our lives so that we may go stronger together. Whatever may be it could be financial, it could be relationship with the third person or whatever. All of those we need to have one conclusion, and that is to unify the two people who are bonded in marriage.
Nicely said, Bonnie. I want to add to it that conflicts can be of various reasons. First, trust your partner. That is very important. You might have given with a crude personality that a person who may flirt or had experiments, premarital relationship or anything, the person would have been completely gone. Don't look at his past. It takes time. I would say as age progress, there is something called maturity comes in us. So wait for that maturity come. Initial conflicts, whatever happens. Once he or she get into marriage, whatever he was, don't point at his past or her past. It is your responsibility to bring the diamond out of that coin. So it is actually you need to perform your job so that seeing you, the other partner will change. This is a perfect thing what I've seen in my life. When my Jones preach in the church, he always take my examples while he preach. I feel embarrassed because even though he tells good, it's about me. But I learned that whatever examples he quote for his preaching, he never said, Sindhu, it was a good job at that time. I understood he learned from that particular thing and he spoke because this is the way we all learn. So whenever I counsel someone also say, don't look at his past. There are cases whereas the guy is already married and having children without anyone's knowledge and coming for this marriage, and the spouse couldn't forgive that particular person. I would say forgive and forget. That needs maturity. So that we need to be very clear that if you're looking into the past, actually there may be broken pieces. Even I am broken. Understand, I may hiding my things, whereas that person might have told everything to us. So understand, forget today onwards how I'm going to start. This is an important rule. Next is, as I already sort of spoke about dowry, we already spoke, the financial clarity should be there, that we need to understand your expense should not go beyond what you are having as an income, and understand as days goes by we have children and children need to be educated, the expenses keep on going increasing, so that we need to be taken care. Respect each other in marriage is also very important so that conflicts can be avoided. Another important term is parental influence in marriage. If I'm with my house, with my parents, obviously the problem with the spouse, my parents will support me. Same thing will happen in the opposite side. I'm not telling that you should stay alone in marriage, that is once you get married you should separate from your parents. I'm not encouraging that. It will be good if they stay alone if situations allows you with the permission of the parents, so that all the conflicts in between you. But when I'm in his family or her family, the family will put their nose in that and we cannot say mind your own business. But we need to learn to, the parents need to learn not to involve in their children's marriage, because literally it is going to put the petrol in the fire what is happening. So that is another case of managing the conflicts. Another thing is, don't bring work to home. Give quality time to your house. Now online has started literally actually taking the time of the family. So I need to learn how to draw lines for work, how to draw lines for family, because this is mandatory, otherwise it is going to affect your marriage and child rearing practices. So that I need to learn. Avoid abusive nature, aggressive nature. I may be a hot-tempered person, but in marriage, tone down.
True.
Because otherwise it is going to be a havoc
Yeah,
that I need
yeah.
to understand. And commitment, as I already said, extramarital affair is another big topic to be covered, which can bring marital conflict. And don't think of divorce on the first time. You may don't think of breakup. See, we can bend the thing, things can be bent, but it's not necessary you need to break
Break
it.
it.
Wait for give little time so that both are the first marriage or both needs time, that both hands needs time or both spouse needs time to understand
True.
and adjust to the next level.
True.
So I think we spoke well enough. I think I speak more from the experience than the bookish knowledge or the things we read. So I think we spoke much on
Yeah.
marital conflicts, and whatever reasons we spoke as a cause of conflict will be explained in coming episodes. Till we come with the next season. Thank you so much and God bless you. Thank you.